But let's start with the Commanders and Bears game. There was a lot happening through the course of that game, including, by the way, Jake Moody. I don't know about you guys. I was gripping it a little tight for Jake.
I wanted him to make that kick so bad just for his own mental health and well-being.
I mean, good for the coaching staff having confidence, but it is a driving rainstorm. You just saw Jayden Daniels mishandle a ball on 3rd and 1 that flips the game.
He got one blocked earlier.
And we're just trusting.
Oh, man.
He's 3 of 4, one block, but 3 of 4. We think he can hit the other one.
Yep.
Jake Moody delivering. You had to feel good for him. Caleb Williams, who basically since I would say week 1 of last season has heard nothing but Jayden Daniels is a better quarterback. Jayden Daniels should have gone number 1.
Mm-hmm.
They had the Commanders on the ropes last year in Washington. It wasn't a big night, though, for Caleb. You go back, I think he completed 10 passes for 100-something yards, but he at least had him in position. And had the Bears won that game, maybe the entire season is different. They never won another game with Matt Eberflus as their coach. Everybody ends up gradually being fired throughout the course of the season. And we're still talking about Jayden Daniels making the run. Bears would have been 4-2 if they had won that game last year. But they go in last night, and you saw the most controlled Caleb Williams that we have seen. Again, the numbers weren't off the charts, but he was efficient outside of one time where maybe he should have just slid or thrown the ball out of bounds. Anything other than getting tattooed by Frankie Louvu at the sideline. You saw him make really good decisions through the course of that game. And you saw the raw talent of Caleb Williams. He can be. It's all in there. The talent is in there for Caleb Williams. And this was even a different quarterback than we saw in week 1 against the Vikings, where Caleb Williams started out, 9-9 or 10-10 pass at the start of that game. Everything was rhythm. It was the quick checkdowns. And then as the game went on, it was a lot of running for your life, Superman football, the exact type of stuff that Ben Johnson doesn't want to see him have to do on any type of regular basis. Sure, there might be 2 or 3 times where you need an above-the-line type of play, whether it's athletically or with your arm, but you don't want him to live there. Last night, again, in brutal weather, I was watching Caleb Williams warm up for the game, and he's just soaking wet.
Yeah, he loved it, though.
And he's like walking through it. I'm like, oh, man, it must be really bad there. Like, he's not even opening his eyes walking across the field. This is going to be a tough passing night. Yet it's Jayden Daniels and the Commanders that coughed the ball up 3 times on their home turf. And Caleb Williams and the Bears get what felt like a program-type win. One of those ones that if the Bears, and I'm not even talking about in 2025, we'll see what the rest of this season holds. It's year 1 for their head coach. But if they do make strides forward in the coming years, this is one of those types of games I think we'll look back on and say, that's where you saw what the Bears can be. DeAndre Swift, a player that a lot of people had forgotten about, had a monster night in that game.
Looked really good.
Rome Odunze gets a touchdown taken away. That could have broken the game open. Yeah. That would have made it 20-10. I checked with some folks very attuned to, I will just say what the league is thinking when it comes to officiating. The call was right on the line.
Oh, they had a bad week.
The analysis, though, of that call on the broadcast, which was, are we really calling that? It's an emphasis, no doubt about it. You probably don't have to call it in that moment. You got a young left tackle, undrafted dude starting for the first time. You didn't hear his name once except for that, which is amazing for a guy who's stepping in that spot, except for that flag. And you saw the shot of him on the sideline looking around like, I don't know, man. Like, I thought I was lined up. I thought I was lined up fine. You see it every week. There's some guys who appear to be completely in the backfield. This was like a half a step. I mean, it's a 100% a judgment call. Yep. Okay, there's nobody saying that was objectively the wrong call, but it's subjective. The officials have to make that in a judgment call. Do you want them calling that there? I'll leave that up to everybody to figure out. But Caleb Williams after the game, too, I thought that his post-game interview, I believe it was with Laura Rutledge, was good. After the game, just talking about what this meant for the franchise, for the Bears. Yeah, it's fun. Last year wasn't a lot of fun for the Chicago Bears. And again, there were a lot of things that happened through the course of that season. You fire the offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron. You promote Thomas Brown. Then like 3 weeks later, you fire Matt Eberflus. Now Thomas Brown has to be the head coach. You go through a lot as a rookie quarterback in that spot. And we've seen this 3 years in a row now with the number one pick having their head coach fired during the season. It was the Panthers in 23. It was the Bears last year. It was the Titans yesterday. And we'll certainly talk more about that. But here's a little bit of what Caleb Williams had to say after the game last night.
We got something, I can't say the first word, but it starts with an S and ends with a T. We say we love this. We love it. The hard work, the effort, everything that pays off. I mean, we love it. At the end of the day, we're itching for wins. We're itching to get back out there and practice and things like that because all the hard work is paying off. And that feeling is really, 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 really good. It feels really good that hard work does pay off, and it always does. It always pays back.
The Bears love this suit. I believe that's what he was trying to say. Brockman didn't get it. TJ, thank you.
I didn't get it. What is that from?
Starts with an S, ends with a T.
Yeah.
They love this suit.
Love this suit.
Okay.
Brockman's still lost.
Yeah, it's all right.
Got it.
It's early. It's early in
I'm
the show.
happy for Caleb Williams.
It's a moment for him.
Yeah. This guy has taken a lot of grief. You know, he's too flashy. He's too this, the fingernails and the dancing and the phone cases and all the stupid stuff about football that doesn't really matter or have anything to really do with anything.
Well, it's also about the elevation of the franchise, right? Last year, you look at this, and Jayden Daniels, along with Dan Quinn, elevated that franchise. And so the immediate reaction is, well, why isn't Caleb doing the same thing? The quarterback has a big role. It's the only position in which you can create a sea change with one guy. Head coach certainly as well, but in terms of the roster, the quarterback is the one spot that can change everything. And because Caleb didn't have that instant impact, again, one Tyreek Stevenson waving at the crowd, Hail Mary botch away from being 4-2, and maybe things go differently. It ends up with Jayden Daniels making a run, everyone who had brought Caleb Williams, other than the GM, to Chicago getting fired, and now starting over. Which brings me to the other piece of last night. And Ben Johnson is never going to talk about this publicly. He's a very, as you see, for even in his halftime interviews, he is so laser locked. He is so serious. He is so committed to the task. Even after the game last night, he's talking about, we did a lot of things wrong in that game. But I guarantee you, somewhere deep down inside today and walking off that field, Ben Johnson had at least a flashback memory to January of 2024, or going back even further than that to the fall of 2023, when everybody was reporting accurately that Ben Johnson was in the Washington Commanders' sights to be their head coach, that was their guy. I can tell you their targets were, they wanted Adam Peters to be the GM. They wanted Ben Johnson to be the head coach. And as things played out through the course of that season, it certainly remained a possibility. The Lions are making a playoff run in January of 2024. Because of the way that the head coach interview rules are set up, Ben Johnson was able to do initial interviews, virtual interviews, but couldn't do the in-person interview until either Super Bowl, the week before the Super Bowl, or the day after the championship game if they were to lose. So we get there, and at this point, there were already some signs that maybe Ben Johnson wasn't as into the Commanders as they were into him. But he does a second interview with the Seahawks in person in Detroit. It has a really good conversation from everything I was told. Went out for beers with the GM, John Schneider, after. But it's the day after, just a gut-wrenching loss. And Ben Johnson is sitting there. Remember, he could have gotten on the plane the year before and gone to Carolina, decided to come back to Detroit, take another shot at it, one more run. Let's win this thing. Let's finish the job. They suffer a devastating loss in the NFC Championship game in San Francisco, fly back, and like 8 hours later, he's got to be doing an interview for a head coaching job. Oof. His mind wasn't all the way there. Again, spent time with the Seahawks, had a great time with the Seahawks. Commanders are on the plane to go see him. And Ben Johnson tells his agent, dude, I can't do it. I can't do this right now. You know, he's married. He's got a young family. He's so committed to what he's building there with the Lions. And you can imagine the headspace that you're in at that time. So he tells him, hey, just let him know. I'm not ready to do it. I'm not going to be a head coach this year. Thank him for the opportunity, but I'm out. for several days after that, there were, let's say, a number of reports all of a sudden that were generated of Ben Johnson was never the Commanders guy. Ben Johnson, his asking price spooked people. Ben Johnson was not the hot head coaching candidate that everybody thought. And there was a sense within the league that perhaps the Commanders, in a I'm breaking up with you, you didn't break up with me way, might have been making sure that the idea was out there that wasn't our guy. He blew it. He wanted too much money. He wasn't, no, if he didn't want to do, we don't want him.
Yeah, the money thing was one of the big stories that was circulating.
And Ben Johnson never made a price demand. His agent never said, hey, either give him this much money or he's not coming. Ben Johnson's a really thoughtful type of guy who lived in Detroit in a dark room in his office drawing up cool stuff. He was the rare guy who wasn't spending all of his time during the season being like, I got to engineer this for this head coaching job. I got to go here. I got to go there. But there were a lot of things that were said and written about Ben Johnson after that probably didn't line up with how Ben Johnson felt. He really was like, I just can't do this right now. And I don't feel good about the situation in Washington. That's to say nothing against the Commanders ending up hiring Dan Quinn. He wasn't their first choice, but he's a great coach who went to the NFC Championship game in his first year. He's been a big part of the cultural turnaround. And I understand that fumble is part of the reason we're talking about this being a Bears win and not a Commanders win. But for Ben Johnson to go in there to Washington and get the win with the other quarterback that everybody has been ripping the Bears for taking over Jayden Daniels, that had to mean something to Ben Johnson last night.
Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.